If this was any other government killing scores of kids, the United States would be condemning them for it. But because it's the Israeli government and the United States is full of Zionist Christians, they support the Israeli government mass murdering kids on the daily.
House is building pressure on Israel to pull back on its high-intensity military operation in the Gaza Strip and end the war with Hamas as soon as possible. Despite that, the bombardment continues as the war enters its 70th day. You can see here clouds of smoke billowing into the sky after multiple explosions across northern Gaza there early on Friday. Meanwhile, in the south, Israeli shelling and airstrikes have destroyed homes in Khan Yunis and Rafah. Dozens of people have been pulled from the rubble. Our correspondent Hani Mahmoud is live for us in Rafah in southern Gaza. Hani, give us an update on the situation there across the Gaza Strip.
Yes, well, good morning. And just within the past few minutes, 15 minutes or so, is a large cloud of smoke coming from the northern part of the Gaza Strip, Beit Lahia district, particularly the northern of Beit Lahia, where more airstrikes and artillery shelling targeting more residential homes in that particular district. And there is it's a continuation of what was going on over last night as well in early hours of this morning. We're talking about more of these.
You can't claim to be fighting terrorism or a terrorist organization when you're attacking residential areas and killing kids and civilians. That's a war against the civilians.
Residential buildings, more people becoming displaced. There are reports about people being critically injured, and reports about some who were killed were within the vicinity of the targeted residential buildings in that area. Across the Gaza Strip, mainly in Khan Yunis, where fierce fighting is going on between Al-Qassam fighters on the ground and the Israeli military under heavy coverage of aerial bombardment. A school, evacuation school was targeted, and there are reports about people were seriously injured inside the evacuation school, were taken and reported to Nasser hospital. We did not get a confirmation on how many people were killed in that school yet, but there are reports about those who, among them children and women, were critically injured and rushed to the hospital. Here in Rafah,
Yeah, the Israeli government loves to kill kids while at the same time claiming they care about protecting kids.
again, one more time, an area that's supposed to be safe, but people find themselves under these unpredictable falling, but particularly a Shabura neighborhood in Rafah, an area that has been targeted repeatedly since the beginning of the war. But what's really tragic about what's going on is the central part of the Gaza Strip. It not only suffer from
The Russian government hasn't even killed the same number of civilians as the Israeli government has in the entire year of the invasion by Russia. This is crazy how the Israeli government is still not considered a terrorist government.
ongoing artillery shelling and bombing from every once in a while, but it is a starvation that is causing a great deal of suffering and misery for the people who live there, the resident of the central area, and those who were displaced and evacuated to the Deir al-Balah, Nusayrat refugee camp, Al-Maghazi refugee camp, and the other areas between Salah ad-Din Road and the coastal road, as it has been effectively separated from the northern part and the southern part, where there are nothing gets in or out. People talks about a depletion of everything, of all the basic needs that are important for their survival. And just one thing that I want to point out, that the direct result of those ongoing airstrikes and ongoing bombardment is people becoming displaced, and when they're displaced, they get hungry, they get thirsty, and that's a scene that we, within the vicinity of Nasser Hospital, of Al-Kuwaiti Hospital, we see where people, their daily mourning starts like this.
U.S. to delay sale of 27,000 rifles to Israel because of rise of seller attacks on Palestinians. That's terrorism. the Israeli government funds uh, uh, settlers, gives them guns, and then they go out and kill Palestinians. That's funding terrorism.
Queuing in a crowd, getting some water supply and get back to their homes. But this goes on all day long. Since late hours of night, people queue here just to get water, and that's a direct result of what of those